Welcome to a new episode of Cool Finds. I'm George of YouTube channel Uncanny George, and on Cool Finds I just talk about all the cool things I find and why I like them. The first item on my Cool Finds list is actually this Squirtle from the original Pokemon trading card game. What's cool about this Squirtle is, one, he's from the original Pokemon trading card game. He's not a first edition, he is the base set, and the other reason is that I started playing Pokemon Go, and my first Pokemon was Squirtle. He's actually one of my favorite Pokemon, so that's why I picked him. And so he's really cool, and I just had this card. I actually got a bunch of Pokemon cards at a Goodwill auction. I ended up paying like 30 bucks. I got a big binder full of Pokemon cards. Some are original sets and first editions, and so I'll probably be showing those in future episodes. But I just wanted to share this Squirtle card for the first cool item on my Cool Finds list. The next item on my Cool Finds list is this Batman DC Universe action figure. I'm a huge Dark Knight Returns fan, and that's what this action figure is actually based off of, is the Dark Knight Returns Batman, and this version's really cool, as you can see in the box. I actually got this at a Walmart. I did pay full price for this. It came out to $19.99, but it's a really cool action figure, and I'm a huge fan of the Dark Knight Returns, and so when I saw this I just had to pick it up because I thought it was so cool. This is another cool find. The next item on my Cool Finds list is this GameCube Dragon Ball Z Budokai game. I'm actually a pretty big gamer. I'm getting more and more into games. I've actually played this game on the PlayStation 2, and I heard the GameCube version is really cool, and since I recently got a GameCube, I went ahead and picked it up. I think I paid $5.99 for this at a half-price books. The only bad thing is the case looks great, the disc looks great, but it is missing the insert. Overall, I'm just a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and I thought this was a really cool game, so I picked it up. So that's a pretty good price for these games because they are getting harder to find. So that's another cool find. This next item on my Cool Finds list is actually really cool. It's actually pretty rare and pretty in demand. The crazy story is I actually found this in the clearance section at a half-price books. The game I'm talking about is actually Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the Xbox. So I think this is a really cool game. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I've heard a lot of good things about this game. And along with it being a really cool game, it's actually pretty rare, so I thought it was really crazy that I found this in a clearance section for $3 at the half-price books. What's really cool about this is that it is intact. The disc looks great, it does have the insert, and original box art's really cool. It is intact, so I just thought that was really awesome that I found this. Finding the clearance section is really cool. So that is another cool find. The next item on my Cool Finds list is a comic book. It is House of Mystery number 285. What's cool about this comic book? One, it has a really awesome, horrifying clown cover. The other thing that I thought was really cool about this comic is that the cover is illustrated by the legendary comic book artist Joe Kubert, and so I thought that was really cool. I'm a big fan of horror, and I like these classic horror comics like House of Mystery. I think I got this for 50 cents at like a flea market, which I think is a really good deal. It's not in the best of shape, but again, it is a really cool cover, and I think it makes a great addition to my comic collection. The next item on my Cool Finds list is this Detective Comics number 500. This comic's just really cool. It's an anniversary issue. Usually anniversary issues are really celebratory. They really celebrate the character. Because this is Detective Comics, they're celebrating Batman. And what's really cool about this issue is it has a lot of contributions from so many legendary comic creators, such as Jim Aparo, Dick Giordano, Joe Kubert, Walt Simonson, and a lot of others, and a wraparound cover. So this is really a cool issue. And I think I picked this up at a half-price books. I think I paid $1 for it. And I just think it's really cool, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection. So, the next item on my Cool Finds list, I actually talked about it in my previous video, Top 5 Horror Comics. So it's actually Outcast number 1. As mentioned in my previous video, I'm a huge horror comics fan, and Outcast number 1 is actually a great comic book. So I was really surprised when I found it at a half-price books. I ended up paying like $1.50 for this, and I do believe it's the first printing, so that makes it that much cooler. So this is just another really cool addition to my comic book collection. The next item on my Cool Finds list is this Spawn number 8. I'm actually a huge Spawn fan. I think Spawn's really cool. In the 90s, of course, Spawn was huge, and I actually think he's making a comeback. There's talks that Todd McFarlane, the creator and illustrator of Spawn, actually wrote and turned in a screenplay, and hopefully it's going to get developed, and hopefully it's going to bring Spawn back in a big way. I'm still a huge Spawn fan, and so when I saw this, I went ahead and picked it up. I got this at a resale shop, I believe for $1, and what's really cool about this issue is two things. The first is a real cool homage to the original Todd McFarlane Spider-Man covers that he did in Marvel. The other thing that's really cool about this is it's actually written by legendary comic writer Alan Moore. So this is just a really great comic. I've read it. If you can find it, you should pick it up. So that's another cool find. Another item on my cool finds list is this GI Combat #1. I've always been a fan of war comics. I actually have a bunch of older war comics, and I do remember GI Combat and the Unknown Soldier, and so I'm a big fan of those. And when I saw this, I believe I got it for like 50 cents at a Half Price Books. It is also one of the New 52 launch books. What's cool about this book is that I've seen a lot more of the New 52 books. People are letting go of their New 52 runs, and so I'm finding a lot more of those. I'm trying to pick up some of the earlier titles from the launch, and so one of them was this GI Combat. So when I saw this at Half Price Books, I went ahead and picked it up. And so that's just another really cool addition to my comic collection. Another item on my cool finds list is this Uncanny XMen #282. A lot of people are probably really familiar with this book. This was a very popular book in the 90s. It's actually the first appearance of Bishop, and that's one of the reasons I picked it up. I'm a big Bishop fan, and I actually love the cover illustration. One of my favorite comic illustrators, Will Spertasio, actually illustrated this and helped create the character. And so when I found this book, it was definitely something I really wanted to pick up. Crazy story about this is that I was already about to pay at the register, and one of the cashiers, she was about to put some comic books out. So she saw that I had comics and she asked if I'd like to look through them, and I said yes. And one of the books that was in there was this Uncanny XMen 282. So I went ahead and picked it up for, I believe, $2. Again, it's another great addition to the collection that I'm really happy to have, and another really cool find. Another X-Men book on my cool finds list is this Secret Wars Age of Apocalypse #1. As I've mentioned before, I'm actually a huge Age of Apocalypse fan. It's one of my favorite comic book storylines ever, but that's not exactly why I picked this one up. The reason I picked this specific comic up is because it's a Scotty Young variant cover, and I'm a big Scotty Young fan. As you can see, it's a really cool rendition, a very fun rendition of the Age of Apocalypse characters in the style that Scotty Young is really known for. I believe I got this at Hastings bookstore, and I actually paid $5 for it, but it's really cool. I'm not a variant chaser, but some variants I think are really cool, and I will pick them up if they're reasonably affordable, and this one was, so it makes a great addition to the collection, and it is a really cool find. Another item on my cool finds list is this Thor #85, or actually number 587. What's cool about this issue is that it is the series finale for this run of Thor books. It's also part of the disassembled storyline, where basically the Avengers books, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Avengers, all of those books, basically the Avengers are taken apart. This is a tie-in to those books. One of the reasons I went ahead and picked this book up is because the final issues of comic books are usually a little bit harder to find because they have a smaller print run. And so it's just a cool Thor book. I am a big Thor fan. And so when I saw this, I actually picked this up in an eBay auction. I think I paid like $1 for it. And so it was a really cool find and a good pickup. What's cool about this next comic book on my cool finds list is that if you're a Flash fan, I did see that they are going to adapt this storyline in the next season of The Flash. The comic book, which I probably just gave away, is this Flashpoint #1. This is just a really cool book. It's a Flashpoint storyline. It's just overall a really cool storyline. It has illustrations from Andy Kubert, who's also one of my favorite comic book illustrators. And as you can see, this is just a gorgeous cover. All around, this is a really cool book. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens on season 3 of The Flash, because it is a really fun and really good show. Hopefully they do the storyline justice. I actually ended up also picking this up on eBay, and I believe I paid like $2 for this book. So it is another cool find, another great addition to the collection. The next item on my cool finds list is this World War Hulk X-Men #2 of 3. Whenever Wolverine and Hulk go at it, it's kind of a big deal, and as you can see by this really awesome cover, Wolverine and Hulk do go toe-to-toe in this comic. But what's also really cool about this comic is that the rest of the X-Men also go toe-to-toe with the Hulk. It's not just Wolverine, but it is also the other X-Men teams. This is also a really cool cover from Ed McGuinness. He's also one of my favorite comic book illustrators. I actually got this at a Half Price Books. I paid like 50 cents for it. A really good price, and so I thought it was a cool find. And the last item on my cool finds list is actually this Batman Superman #7. You can probably guess why I picked up this book. It just has this awesome battle cover of Superman and Batman going at it, going toe-to-toe. And I'm a big fan of both of these characters. And usually when they battle, it's usually kind of a big deal. So I just really love this cover. When I saw it, I believe I got it at Half Price Books for $1.50. I went ahead and picked it up. It is just a really cool, awesome cover. And so that's just another really cool find and great addition to the comic collection. So that's it for another episode of Cool Finds. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know some of the cool things you find in your travels and what you like. I really appreciate your feedback, and as always, thank you for watching.